All right. What is up again, throttlers? See, I get some technical difficulties here and there. This is Aristotle Full Throttle, and I'm talking about Terminator Dark Fate, the newest Terminator movie, like the 17th Terminator movie to come out in as many years, I guess. First, you had Terminator 1984, James Cameron's fever dream that he had when he was in like a French motel. You can look that up, it's true. He came up with the idea of the Terminator, he drew all the machines, he had the whole idea in his head, like in a fever dream. He was dreaming it up. And there he had it. And it was brilliant. And you had the second Terminator. Second Terminator movie comes along 5 or 6 years later. And the Terminator's the villain in the first one. The endoskeleton, living tissue over metal endoskeleton, whatever. But the movie is really about Sarah Connor surviving, overcoming all the odds, beating the Terminator, and then raising the leader of the future. But really, she's the leader of the future because she's the one who has to survive. She's the one who has to fulfill her destiny, if you will. And even the second movie, Terminator 2, perhaps the greatest movie, action movie of all time, definitely the greatest action movie of the 90s. It's been decided by science. They figured this out. It's not The Matrix. Matrix is the second best action movie of the 90s. First best action movie of the 90s is Terminator 2 Judgment Day. You've got Sierra Connor, and she's again got to be the savior of the future. And she takes it upon herself to perhaps kill the guy responsible for creating Cyberdyne systems and all that crap, which was great. It's a great movie. Threw you off from the first one. I actually did this experiment with a friend of mine. We watched the first Terminator movie, and then we watched the second Terminator movie right after that, and they didn't know that Arnold was a good guy in the second one, which was really brilliant. If you watch that movie and you don't know that, it's not until that moment when they're in the hallway, when he sees John Connor and you see the T-1000, you think it's kind of the same format as the first movie. There's a human and there's a Terminator, because the T-1000 doesn't really give up its identity right at first. You don't know that he's a metal dude until he gets shot for the first time. So it's that moment when Arnold says, "Get down," and starts, boogieing, partying, dancing. Um, it's not until that moment where you realize, oh, this movie's going to take a turn I did not expect. Then you fast forward, you have Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines. And then they say Terminator 1, Terminator 2, even though they stopped the bad Terminator again, the first two movies are logical. You send one back to kill the mom, you send one back to kill the son. That seems to make sense. And then the third one's like, we're going to go kill Catherine Brewster and then maybe someone else. And then there's all this same exact format. No originality, no imagination. They've got Arnold again with sunglasses and a leather jacket. As if, it just seemed to make sense in the first two movies. He stops and he sees a bunch of punks at 4 a.m. and he kills them all. And takes their punk rock clothing in the second one. Biker bar. Same deal. Then you've got Terminator Salvation. Not great. That's all I have to say about that. Not a great movie. They start toying with the idea that humans can now become Terminators, and there's a halfway point, and they're trying to get all philosophical, and then somehow magically on a battlefield, they get us to try to believe that John Connor gets a heart transplant. I don't know about you, but if you've ever seen a heart transplant surgery, it is not a a battlefield injury that can be fixed. It's not something you could just go, hey, this one's got Civil War, this gun's got a bad leg, just saw it off. Oh, this guy needs a new heart. Hold on, let me go in my bag and take out my medical supplies so I can fix this guy's heart and replace it. You can't do that. It doesn't quite work that way. It's a very highly involved surgery that takes like a day and a half. It's kind of stupid. Didn't like that movie. And then you had Terminator Genesis. I think it's called that. And I like the idea of going back to the 80s again and then undoing some of the things when they were doing them. And now we're really getting to the idea of multiple timelines. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that in a universe that deals with time travel, that we have multiple timelines. So we can start to forget about the sequels that came before it. Like this movie, Terminator Dark Fate. Forgets about all the other Terminators. It's the actual Terminator 3, because I always thought it was stupid that they killed Linda Hamilton off screen for Terminator 3, and she's just a casket and it was full of guns. It's just like, come on, guys. It seems like it was written by a bunch of bros who are like, yeah, man, like if she dies, she's gonna like fill her casket with guns, because that is the depth of Linda Hamilton's character. It's really dumb. I didn't like that one none too much, Terminator 3. Terminator Dark Fate gets back on the path of the fact that these movies revolve around Sarah Connor's life. But they kind of try to bring in some young, new blood and then be like, let's focus, now this woman's kid is going to be the future, and then some other guy, and it's just, I don't know. You start out with this movie, and I didn't care at all. I didn't care about anybody. This guy's he's getting replaced by machines on the job, so they're trying to bring some philosophy back into it. And then we're just supposed to know that the Rev 9 model we just supposed to know stuff now. You just go to the movie and you go, oh, this is how a Terminator movie works. There's a truck chase on the freeway right away with a liquid metal Terminator who gets exploded by Linda Hamilton. She shows up. That was actually pretty cool. When she first shows up, that sequence, you could tell that they built the entire action sequence around that moment where she gets out of the car, takes a rocket launcher, blows up the Rev 9 model, who's got liquid and metal. It's just like they run out of ideas. They just keep putting the same ideas together and then going, what if we just don't come up with new ideas and we just take the ideas and combine them? Doesn't make a new idea. It just makes a stupid, tired idea, which I am not a fan of. So what do you guys think so far of the reception of Terminator Dark Fate? Hasn't been getting good reception, but it's probably because it's not very good. It's actually pretty bad. So the movie just starts out going, hey, we've seen Terminator 2. Here's the same stuff. Here's all the same stuff, except we've got a metal endoskeleton with a liquid exoskeleton, which makes no sense. So he could be two Terminators at the same time. And I don't know why they didn't think of anything else. I don't know why they couldn't think of anything else. Let me just move this. Just shimmy this up further there. Really don't know why. So at this point in the movie, I'm sitting in the audience going, this is dumb. This is like, they think we're dumb. The first two Terminator movies are actually pretty smart, but all of the people who handle the intellectual property for Terminator just go, hey, it's a robot from the future. And then they don't think beyond that. They don't come up with anything more creative other than that. And this movie definitely shows that. I didn't like it. It was terrible. I was unimpressed. During the car chase, I sat there like this, and I started to do a Luke Wilson impression. I started going, oh wow, oh wow, oh wow, oh wow. I probably became really annoying to the 10 other people at most in the entire theater. There was the theater was empty. It was a ghost town. It was not a good omen for what was about to come. So I did not care about anything that happened in this movie. So much of the trailer takes place in the first 10 minutes, which I thought was pretty cool. I like the fact that, they didn't really give away the last half of the movie. A really, really important fact here. Let me fix my table so it doesn't fall over and destroy the live stream. The start of this movie, just like I said, I didn't like the fact that they killed Linda Hamilton's character, Sarah Connor, off screen before Terminator 3 Rise of the Machines. In the first friggin' 5 minutes, I was actually pretty psyched because during the production logos and stuff and during opening credits, they were playing the clips of Sarah Connor freaking out at Pescadero mental facility, talking about the future and how she knows it's happening. It was such a great scene, and it was like, yeah, it was the best scene in the entire movie because it was from Terminator 2, not even directed by Tim Miller. It's actually directed by James Cameron, and they just used footage from James Cameron's movie Terminator 2. Fantastic movie, has great pacing, gets you involved in the characters. You actually care about what's going on screen. So when there are car chases, when there are truck chases, you feel like, oh my God, there's stuff at stake here. Terminator Dark Fate starts the exact same beginning of every Terminator movie, or the first two Terminator movies anyway, first three. The bubble, the person comes from the future, and we're like, we're just rushing right into the same exact thing again. Why can't we just start some other way? We know that they're sent from the future. But Mackenzie Davis's character, Grace, I think, or whatever, she's like half robot. It's really stupid. And she has to take like injections to stay alive. It's really stupid. And then you've got then the other woman, but the only thing that was good was really Linda Hamilton, because she's like, I kill Terminators. But then you're like, this is dumb. I still glossed over this part. I'm like kind of all over the place. Bear with me, guys. It's been a rough week. After the first opening sequence, where they're showing the footage of Linda Hamilton, Sarah Connor, freaking out at Pescadero, they show a really cool, de-agifying sequence where it's young Linda Hamilton, it's young Sarah Connor. You're like, dope, this is cool. And then she's in Guatemala, and there's John Connor, young John Connor again. You're like, oh, cool, this is really cool. And then the T-800 shows up again and just shoots John Connor, kills him right in the beginning of the movie, and you're like, what the frig? There's no, like, John Connor is, it's like, I get it, these movies are about Sarah Connor, but after all of Terminator 2, of all of that escaping and all of that bonding with the Terminator, here comes the Terminator and just shoots John Connor and kills him like that. I didn't like it. I didn't like it because it just didn't seem to make sense. Not that I didn't want to see just them arbitrarily kill off a main character. I just like, it just doesn't make sense. It's just another Arnold robot just showing up in Guatemala just to kill John Connor again. I mean, I would like that. I'd like to think that the first two Terminator movies, and I made a video about this. One of my movie tweak of the weeks is like, I'd like to think that the first two Terminator movies, that Kyle Reese and the good Terminator were sent back at the same point before they destroyed the time machine. So that is to say that John Connor snuck in with Kyle Reese, or Kyle Reese snuck into Cyberdyne Systems. Kyle Reese is the one who reprogrammed the T-800 and sent him to 1991 or 1990 and sent himself back to 1984. And then they blew up Cyberdyne so that they couldn't send any more back. So that would make so much more sense from a writing perspective, because time travel is severely costly, and it's not just gonna be so easy to do. So I would hope that the writers were, I don't know, guys, this is just way cooler than the movie you came up with. If you did another Terminator movie, I don't see why you couldn't make it about Sarah Connor somehow and have her, I don't know, this TV series was great. Somehow Sarah Connor traveled into the future in that one. But Terminator Dark Fate, man. None of the action was that cool. It didn't feel very motivated. There was a couple things that I was like, oh, that's a cool thing, but they just really copied so much. One of my favorite moments in Terminator 2 is when Arnold gets out of the little pickup toward the end, jumps up onto the front of the semi carrying the liquid nitrogen, and then starts shooting the T-1000 in the face. and then like the T-1000 just taking all the bullets, and then he like grabs the wheel and then jackknifes the truck. That's like one of the coolest thought out scenes ever. And then this movie just sort of cheaply borrows from those scenes in different scenes. There's a scene in Terminator Dark Fate where Arnold is just shooting the Terminator in the face. And you're like, I don't care, man. This is dumb. Why did you do this? I think that the series should just die now. What do you guys think? Let's see who we've got in the chat room. Nobody. That's okay. You can leave a comment below, and I will respond to that because you can watch the playback of this video. Rick Beato is live. I might want to watch that when I'm done doing this. So you got John Connor dead right away. So I guess what's his name came back? Edward Furlong came back to play young John Connor and just get murdered right away. That's just so dumb. You might as well have done it off screen. Then you've got the idea that Arnold Schwarzenegger played a Terminator who fulfilled his mission and didn't have anything else to do for the rest of his life. So he decides to get married and raise a kid and start a drapery business, which was the most interesting part of the movie. As soon as Arnold shows up in Terminator Dark Fate, it's actually fun to watch. Again, suddenly the movie gets good. Suddenly the movie gets good when Sarah Connor shows up. Suddenly the movie gets better when Arnold shows up. But the movie itself, I shouldn't say the word good. It's just not. It's just not a good movie. I felt bad. I felt robbed. I felt as though they've had so many chances. This is the fourth chance. Or the third chance? I don't even know. Is this the fifth or the sixth? So you have Terminator 3, Salvation, Genesis, and Dark Fate. So they've had 4 chances to do something comparable to the first 2 movies. And they've swung out and missed all of the times. I don't know what you go to see these movies for, but I actually go to see some compelling story about human nature and about inner conflict and trying to just defy death itself, because the Terminator will not stop until you are dead. But this movie just threw it all away and made it so pedestrian. The entire movie really doesn't... I guess they set it up for another sequel, which I don't even know what to do at this point. I feel like you've given 4 chances and you can't do it. You can't do a decent movie. I'd say out of all 4 of these movies, Terminator 3 is probably the best one out of the 4 sequels after Terminator 2. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Yeah, and again, when Arnold's Terminator dies, he sacrifices himself to kill the Rev 9 Terminator, and you just go, I just didn't care anymore, because every single movie, every single Terminator, the Terminator gets terminated. I'm pretty sure. So nobody cares. I don't care. I'm not sure he didn't. Yeah, in Genesis he gets terminated, I think. So I think it's pretty... I mean, I don't blame Arnold Schwarzenegger for wanting to continue doing these movies, because they're probably a lot of fun for him. He's very iconic. He's actually really still good. He's fun to watch in the roles. He does make the movie get better suddenly, and he is really funny when he's talking about drapery, because now he's a Terminator. His new mission is to get people really well coordinated with their feng shui. So his deal is all about drapes. Wonder if his name's Carl Draper. That'd be great. So basically, the movie's a hot steaming turd, and I don't recommend it for any reason. It's a great idea. Maybe watch the trailer. The trailer was more fun than the movie. I was literally just saying, I don't care, as soon as anything would happen on screen. So maybe that's just reflective of my current mood. But I didn't care about this movie, and it's really sad. I mean, again, Avengers Endgame brought me incredible joy. And then you had Joker. Joker was good. It was a really good movie. Satisfying, good movie. Not a fan. But if you're a fan, let me know. I'm not. I love the Terminator. I love the character. I love the idea. I love that it's about Sarah Connor and her journey and about her overcoming all the odds. We love the Terminator because of Terminator 2. We like that he's been a good guy since Terminator 2. He's been in Arnold's been in 6 Terminator movies. Technically not really in Salvation, but his image was used for the T-800. And, well, I guess he was a bad guy in that. So he's a bad guy in 2 of them and a good guy in 4 of them, which doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. There's a way to make if Cyberdyne doesn't exist in this universe. We're like, oh no, Cyberdyne isn't a thing. It's called something else, but it's the exact same thing. And we make Terminators. This is what it's just like rebranding. It's like as if Apple didn't exist and everything was Microsoft, which would be frickin' buggy. Sorry, Microsoft people out there. But don't forget to download your antivirus software. I know Apples get that too, Macs get that too, but I don't really ever have to think of that ever in my life because I use a lot of Macs, so I'm happy about that. So let me know what you guys think. I know I'm kind of ripping on this movie, but I just think, 4 times, you get 4 chances to make a movie that is compelling, and you fail 4 times with one of the best intellectual properties in Hollywood. One of the best original ideas. Killer robot from the future comes back to just kill you and doesn't stop. It's Jason. It's Friday the 13th. It's Halloween. It's the same. You think about the early 80s and late 70s, and that's what you had. You had Jaws, it's just this killing thing. And then you had Space Jaws, then you had, Star Wars, but then you had Space Jaws, which was Alien. And I coined that. Space sharks. Because Alien's 1979, Jaws is 1975, 76. Star Wars is 1977. So, of course, you look at what came before and you combine the ideas like they did with all these Terminator movies, and then you come out with a new idea. Sometimes it's good, like Aliens or Alien. And then, around that same time, 79, 78, you had Halloween. Just this killing guy just goes around killing. So why not just take robots that you had like in Alien and a killing guy and combine those and make Terminator? So there's you can see there's a trend. There's a series of events that make logical sense that continue to happen throughout the movies in the late 70s, early 80s, when they came up with all of these ideas that we just keep using over and over again. And this is what you get. You get a little steaming pile of hot garbage. I partly blame the writers, Benioff and Weiss, for just being lazy. I don't know why I blame them. I know they worked on Game of Thrones, but it's like the culture of just not coming up with new stuff or not even trying. And I don't understand that culture. I don't get it. If you get it, let me know. All right. Well, I think that was a good episode of Aristotle Full Throttle. I think we've covered it all. Terminator Dark Fate. Don't go see it. Save yourself from that dark fate of going to see Terminator Dark Fate. And subscribe to this channel. Thanks for watching. I'm Aristotle Full Throttle, your bro in the know with the fro. And I'll see you later.